What's going on, everybody? So Sven Hansen here from Top Shelf Season. I figure I may as well give you an intro while we wait for Eric to join us. Top Shelf Season is all about talking about stuff that's going on right now in the Web3 space. And super excited to have my co-host here, Eric. There he is.
Yo, what's up?
You're back. All right, sweet. Appreciate you you popping back in here. You were not frozen now, so that's great.
That's good to hear. If it freezes again, I think we're just have to deal with it.
It's fine. It's fine.
My camera's just upset. I did the old Armageddon fix where I
Oh
just
yeah,
hit it. I don't know if you
the
remember that movie.
the Armageddon fix. I haven't. This is Bruce Willis, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And one of the scenes, they have the Russian cosmonaut, and this
Right.
everything's going down, and he's like, "What is it? Russian spaceship, America's spaceship, all made in Taiwan," and he just starts hitting it with a hammer.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
it works.
And then it works. And that's what I just did to my camera, and now it works.
Good stuff. Well, Eric, I did a little intro while I was waiting for you to pop on, just letting people know what Top Shelf is about, and I guess the whole ideology behind talking about Web3 is that this is it's unprecedented time in a number of different ways, and
Mhm.
essentially as many ways that you can document kind of what's going on, I think is very important. So, this is more or less a place to talk about like the shitty stuff that's happening, which we'll talk about in a sec.
Mhm.
But like also just because we're in the thick of it, me and you being founders, and again, I'll kind of give an intro to what we do in a second, is that like we get to see the cool shit that people are building right now behind the scenes and kind of get a look into like what um, the future moving pieces of Web3 look like, right? So, um, yeah, I'm pleased to have you here as a co-host on this, and
Appreciate it.
yeah, let's dive into it. Again, I'm a founder of Bobblz. We've been around since June, and Eric and I are kind of the guys that are like we're front lines. So we're founders. You know we're in the discords every day. We're answering people. We're doing like 95% of the work for our projects. So um, it's great to have you on. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the art of goobers. And yeah, tell me about you, because you've been in the space since like it's been over a year, right? You've been in the space.
So Eric here, for anyone who doesn't know, founder of the Goobs. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, and I've been in this space for a little bit. I think I got into NFTs last January timeframe. I got my first I got into NBA Top Shots. Before that, I was into crypto, and I was trading crypto, and I thought I was a badass because it was like a bull market, and that like quickly fades away.
Yeah.
So I started looking for different avenues, and I really started getting captivated by the NFT market and getting
Yep.
that going. And yeah, so I found Flow, and I realized that a lot of people weren't generating products on the Flow blockchain at that moment in time. So we decided to just jump in there head first. And yeah, so I launched my project, I think last, what is it, November, right after Halloween, which sucked because
Nice.
I wanted to launch like before Halloween. Because
Yeah.
if you look at the artwork, a lot of it's like Halloween oriented.
Mhm.
But at the time, Flow didn't have that. They had like controlled all the contracts that went out. And so we got
Mhm.
everything ready. And then we would go to hit launch, and then we had to like wait for the approval process. But it worked out still.
Yep.
And yeah, so we've been live in the market for like a year, and it's been one hell of an event. Really, I've loved it. Like the NFT space has been just a lot of fun, excitement, tears at the same time, because like I feel like right when we came in, it was almost at the cusp to the downside of it, right? So
Right.
it's like been going, it's just been going straight, like just in a steady decrease for the
Yeah. Yeah.
past eight
You
months,
jumped in at the top, and then it just kind of rode the hill down.
right? But that's good things because staying here and building it kind of lets us go forward.
Hmm. Yeah,
Pretty
I
pumped.
mean, one of the things about Flow, and again, Bobblz itself, the project is also built on Flow. And one of the things that was really exciting um, to me about this space, like all FUD aside, is that like the, the space is built on previous problems. Like it was built out of a way to be a solution, right? Like
Yeah, because kitties
because of
crashed
kitties,
it.
right? Kitties went out there and it crashed Ethereum. And Ethereum has done a lot of stuff this year to try and rectify a lot of the things that make it just not ideal for mass adoption, right? And mass
But did
adoption,
they? Did they? Because they said that, but then they like still kept gas prices relevant to workload, which
yeah,
I didn't get.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's easier, it's better on the environment. So like there's that, but like e- gas prices again, super annoying.
Yeah, because they
And
were developing proof of staking, but the proof of stake doesn't lower the gas fees. Like
mhm.
you're still going to get charged an extraordinary amount for making a transaction.
Yeah, and for those that are listening that don't really know like about crypto and gas fees and stuff like that, because I do want to make this a podcast that lets people kind of come in and hear about what people are building and understand like what some of the other chains are doing, or and it could be good, could be bad. But
Hmm.
one of the downsides obviously of Ethereum, for those of you that are listening and saying what's gas, gas is essentially, if you were to compare it to anything, it's like surge pricing. And so if you were riding an Uber right at the time of like a John Legend concert and you wanted to get a Uber out front of the John Legend concert, the pricing is probably going to be a lot higher because there's more people trying to get the same thing at the same time. So essentially, that is not good for adoption because, in the case of Yuga Labs and things like that, when there's massive drops, is that you're seeing gas prices that are like, thousands of dollars.
Insane. Yeah.
Um,
So you're
and
paying because then you're paying the gas to get the item. So
mhm,
because like the gas just gets you from point A to point B. So if you're buying like that, I remember that land drop, and people
yeah,
lost like a whole ETH or two from
yeah,
like failed transactions.
mhm,
And so that's like $1,000 out the window, and you still didn't get what you wanted or were trying
yeah.
to buy.
Now they did rectify it a little bit, quite a bit actually, by
Hmm.
reimbursing people money for those that like didn't get something.
Hmm.
So that was like that's a class act, um, you know, thing to do. But they got the money, so you know.
Yeah, right. 300 over 300 million. I feel like the market was already kind of going down, and they just took a big old vacuum and
Mhm.
just like
Oh
and
yeah,
just sucked up the rest and was like, "All right, bitches, I'm out."
yeah, exactly. We're just gonna ride this wave through this giant pile of cash that we got.
Right, 300. But I mean, FTX just like took a big pile of their money. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. Did they escape from
Uh,
that?
they
I
did
know they were
escape. They
tied
said they
to it.
didn't have any reserves on FTX. Whether or not
Okay.
they did, it's hard to say, right? So,
All right.
um, yeah. So yeah. Let's take a minute. Let's talk about the generality of the space right now. And I think that um, obviously for those that are listening, whether or not you have an idea of how NFTs and crypto work alongside the stock market and things like that, this is probably one of the times that the stock market is actually going up and crypto is going down. So usually they work pretty hand in hand
Mhm.
in terms of like economic events and things like that. But what we're seeing right now is just a shit show of like these unregulated crypto exchanges collapsing. And have you seen the King of Crypto on Netflix? Did you watch that about the CX exchange from Canada?
No, I was watching the
Y-
King of Stonks, but
yeah, you should watch King of Crypto. It's about like the original like the first crash of crypto exchange, and like This was like years ago, and I watched it. Funny enough, like a week before the exchange crashed, FTX crashed, and
Okay. Okay.
it was basically the same thing. But the
So they're
king of
using
crypto.
their own assets to like pump them up.
Well, the thing, no,
So
it wasn't the same thing in that aspect. This guy in King of Crypto took all. So basically, he built this website where people thought that they owned Bitcoin and Ethereum and all this stuff, and they were buying it, and it looked like they had it on the exchange. But then he took it and put their money into other exchanges to try
mhm.
and ride it up, and then the market went down, and he lost all the money, and
Oh
then
god,
so he basically took it and gambled with the entire amount of everybody's money, lost it
that's kind
all,
of what happened.
which
That's
is
kind of what
pretty much
happened here.
what happened here with FTX. Is that, but different in this in the sense that the reserves were there originally with
Yeah.
FTX, and then he just eventually started taking from the cookie jar, and then more and more and more.
Yeah. See that's it was an insane story because like, what was his initials SBF or something?
Yeah, SBF.
Yeah, and so he was trying to prop up this Almada, I don't remember, Almeida, that sister company of his,
Yep.
and then they were but then Almeida was propped up by the FTX token,
Yep.
right? And then whenever like push came to shove, the FTX started collapsing. Almeida, who was supported by that, started to crumble, and they didn't have to pay off. They didn't have enough like liquidity to start paying out people for that bank run. All of a sudden,
Hmm.
everyone's like, "I want my money back," and they're like, "No, I can't. Don't. Sorry, don't have it."
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Luckily, I wasn't a part of FTX because I think I thought about getting into it last year because someone was trying to like convince me to do FTX trading, I think like fiats and whatnot.
mhm.
And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm just gonna stick with crypto for now. And yeah, well, happy for that
So
decision.
do you keep your crypto You keep your crypto in a cold wallet then? Keep it safe?
Mm,
Yes and no?
yes and no. So, well, right now I'm in the process of like moving it to the bank account,
Mhm.
and so right now I'm doing like bit by bit, move taking a chunk, moving it to or taking a piece, moving it to there, and like moving it to Kraken, which is pretty safe.
Kraken safe,
And
yeah.
then yeah, I keep it on Kraken for like an hour or two. I
Mhm.
do my trade, I convert it to euro, and then I'm getting it over there because the end of the year is coming, and Germany wants its cut.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm kind of
I
working towards
believe
now.
Kraken also works with Ledger, like NanoX, right? Like, you should be able to, I'm pretty sure Kraken has the ability to, like, integrate directly with, cold wallets, so you can connect those and then just, like, transfer it, like, straight off those, so that's always a great idea. So, to give, like, a background to those that are listening that don't know, like, cold wallets, hot wallets, essentially, cold wallets are like a safe. So like if you
Mhm.
wanted to take your money from and not have it in a bank and say like I want it to be safe, I'm going to put it in a safe, because if the bank, which can't happen because they're regulated, but if and in this example is that
Mhm.
unregulated exchanges are the bank. If they go under, then your money is gone, like Tom Brady's money. So like, like, you want to
Well,
take
then,
your
yeah,
money and put it into a cold wallet and just use hot wallets that, like exchanges, for trading. And in Canada, where we're at, there's I think there's 10 different exchanges that are regulated under the Provincial Securities Commission in Ontario, which is good because if you were to lose your money with them, then you can get it back. But in this case, FTX was like based in the Bahamas and was like in international waters, like nobody can touch them. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're not quite sure how that's gonna shake out.
Yeah, it was same with like Binance. I was listening to someone the other day, and they're talking about regulating Binance, and they're like, and it basically said, you know what? We don't even know how to regulate them because we don't even know where they are. And so, like a lot of these big exchanges, these big companies have a multitude of offices spread across the globe and finding out who actually owns and regulates them, which is also, I guess, a point of decentralization because like they don't want to fall under one jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you lose that safety net. And I think that's like this weird Deegan play in crypto culture because like a lot of people like this idea of like no man's land,
Right. Wild
like
West.
who. Yeah, exactly. That's how it makes the crypto fun. It's the Wild West. What are we
Yeah.
doing? Who's monitoring what? Because you don't want the government to quite know who you are, but you want to pay taxes because you don't want to go to jail. And
Right.
so, yeah, but you're like, well, who pays taxes? Because like I'm an American, but I live in Germany, and so I'm like I fall in this weird boat because like America still wants its cut,
Right.
and so like I have to file my taxes with America and Germany. But, like my wife, if she's a German, she leaves. She doesn't have to keep reporting to Germany. And so, and that's like, I think that we're the next couple of years is finding out how the organizations are going to control it and
Mm-hmm.
how they are going to regulate. But I think that was one of the pieces that drew me into Flow because Flow blockchain was looking at working with regulatory companies, like regulatory
Bodies. Yeah.
agencies,
Mm-hmm.
bodies, instead of fighting it. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
listen like Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, I think he's
Mm.
very intelligent and he's building a really like a great thing. But at the same time,
Right.
he's also it seems like he has like this thing going against the man, going against the incumbent system. And I don't know if that's going to work long term. I think he'll have like a strong foundation like Africa and whatnot, or like third world countries. But for us like working with like European countries and America, Flow blockchain is going to be there because it seems like they want to work with like regulatory bodies.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the things that was like super attractive to me to build. Right. Is that like, when you look at like decentralization, like there would be a ton of people right now that would say like, if you want to build a project on Solana, you're probably like, "Hmm, do I want to build on Solana right now?"
Yeah.
Because Solana, for those of you again that are not listening, Solana was backed by FTX, and they had a ton of money in the development of Solana. So um, whether or not what the future is going to look like for Solana, that's a whole nother thing, right? So you have to really um, do your research into like where you're building, right? Like the company that's building it, are
Mm-hmm.
they building it for the right reasons? And if you want to be here for the long term, which a lot of us do, because why else would we be building in this fucking
Mm-hmm.
crazy winter? Um, you know, um, we want to build a brand, we want to build IP that's going to continue to move barriers in the space, right? So you got to look into the company that's behind it, and we're pretty lucky with the company that runs Flow for sure.
Agreed. What's kind of pretty exciting because like y'all been up since like June, correct? You're saying
Yeah,
that's pretty freaking exciting.
yeah, it's been 6 months now.
It's,
What's up, TJ?
yeah, someone just posted. I gotta find the link and post it to. I'm afraid to click on anything with my computer though because last time my camera freaked out.
What's
It
up,
was like,
TJ?
How's it
let's see,
going?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, good.
Good, man.
what's up?
Well,
Hop right out. We got Eric here from Goobs, from Party Goobs. Have you guys met?
I don't believe that we
No.
have.
No, sweet. So
What's
yeah,
going on?
everything. I mean, Eric has been in the space for a long time as well. Um, he built the Party Goobs and the mansion, a year before I jumped in, which was in June. I've been in the space for 6 months. Now you're another guy that has been in the space for quite a long time, right?
Yeah, been almost 2 years now, which is
Shit.
pretty much an
Nice.
eternity in this space. It feels like 20 years.
Dude, it
But
does
yeah,
age, it ages people fast.
That's fresh
isn't it?
COVID. That's fresh
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah, yeah. It was so I come from a background in daily fantasy sports. So I've been a big DraftKings FanDuel player, and then discovered NBA Top Shot last January, and that was really my first exposure to NFTs. Instantly fell in love with the product. Like literally was up for 3 straight days, just like putting all my ETH into Dapper Balance, buying Top Shot moments, thought it was the greatest thing ever. And
Yeah.
then me and my buddy Justin, who's the co-founder with me at Own the Moment, we started a podcast where we would just talk about NBA Top Shot, and then
Nice.
never stopped.
That's so
Nice.
cool. Yeah, I mean that's like something that really gets us excited. I mean, we're pretty much like, as founders, we stumbled across flow through NBA Top Shot, and I can't tell you how many people that I've talked to that are like, yeah, I mean, I started buying NBA Top Shot and I was like, what is this experience? Like, this experience should not be possible. It shouldn't be possible given where we are in this technology right now, right? And that was one of the things that I was like, this is crypto. Like, it doesn't feel like crypto. Like, it feels super smooth. And so from like a marketer standpoint, that's where it's just like, okay, this makes sense. Like, if I want to build a product or I want to build a service, this is where I want to build it. Right. So,
Yeah. Well, I feel like Top Shot did a really good example of that, because if you go to their website, it doesn't talk about NFTs anywhere.
no.
Right? You're buying moments. You're not buying NFTs. You're buying
Right.
moments and collectible items. And I
Mhm.
don't think they even started approaching the NFT aspect until recently. And it's
Given
like,
that they are like the ones that like coined NFT as like what it actually is. You know what I mean?
right?
It's funny. It's funny. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be stigma associated with NFTs, as like, I mean, NFTs right now hold more value than crypto does, if you ask me, just in terms of like what's happening in the crypto space. But yeah, I mean, TJ, let's jump back into like your story. So you you came out with you were talking about NBA Top Shot in how you started your company, and obviously being a big fan of DraftKings and sports and sports betting and fantasy sports. Um, like what happened next? Like, are you a tech guy? Do you know how to build shit? Like, what happened?
Yeah, so I am a tech guy in the sense of I come from a background in product management. So
Yeah.
prior to Own the Moment, worked 10 years of corporate jobs at Capital One and at GlaxoSmithKline Pharma Company, variety of different roles in digital analytics, digital marketing, product management, managing a 12 plus engineering team. So that's kind of where we got our start on building out our website. And then actually my brother Neil is the lead developer. So we kind of synced up with him. It started off just as pulling some like one-time data snapshots to share in Discord. Eventually rolled out the first version of the Own the Moment website, which it's funny to look back on. It was basically a glorified Excel sheet on a website site, just pulling all the data
Yeah.
and showing the numbers. And I've had a couple iterations of it since then. And then now have kind of built out what I view to be the premier analytics website out there for Top Shot, for NFL All Day. And then we've also continued to expand into the gamification side of things with our game Rumble, where you can take the NFL All Day moments that you own and then actually use them to create your Rumble lineup every week, where we have a free to enter contest that offers up $10,000 worth of Dapper Balance in prizes. So that's been a ton of fun. And, I mean, really our three core principles are around education via content and analytics. So how do we make sure that people getting involved in the Web3 space are educated and informed in terms of the decision they can make? Gamification. So once people are educated and start to buy some of these moments, give them something to do with it after, in the form of playing games like Rumble and other kinds of gamification. And then community underlying all of that, which really is kind of, I feel, the moat that we've built. We've built a very strong, loyal community over the past 2 years. We've leaned into that even further with the launch of our Jolly Jokers profile picture project. The Jolly Jokers also ties in with the analytics website, ties in with Rumble, and really using that to connect our entire ecosystem. And, also this idea of like NFTs that give you access and membership, which
Yeah.
is really what we're doing with with the Jolly Jokers, right? So by owning a Jolly Joker, you get lifetime access to OTM Premium for Top Shot and for All Day. So
Right.
earlier this month, we moved a lot of our features behind a paywall. You can access that through a standard weekly, monthly, annual subscription, or you can mint a Jolly Joker and then connect your wallet and use the wallet as a login, which I think is a super cool concept and like something that just makes sense, right? Of like, okay,
Yeah.
I own this thing and now I get access to something that you can only access if you own the thing. And then with Rumble, we also have similar concept where there's token gated contests. So they actually just launched today, starting this week. There's a contest the rest of this season and a playoff contest where if you own 1, 3, or 6 Jolly Jokers, you get into these different contests, and there's a total of $100,000 in prizes. So I think
Jeez.
that's a really, really, yeah, it's I mean, for anyone that looks for good quote unquote value opportunities, there's definitely a ton of value. I mean, in our 6 minter contest right now, there's going to be 2 contests with a total of $20,000 in prizes, and there's only 34 people in it right now. And in this first contest, 25 are going to cash. So like 80% of people are locking up a minimum cash of $250. So it's definitely
sweet.
like, it's a nice opportunity for
Joker.
people that have supported us early and are early adopters. And that's really also the idea of like, building that foundation of community of the early adopters that came in and minted these Jolly Jokers early, giving them this contest as kind of a thank you and a reward and an opportunity for being an early adopter. And then once you have that foundation, I think it's a lot easier to grow the community from there. And that's kind of been our approach to community building all along, and replicating that now again with the Jolly Jokers project.
Hey, Eric, you're still there, right? But you were frozen.
I'm here.
You're frozen.
I kind of see that. I was kind of listening to him, and I was thinking to myself, it's just frozen by like listening to what he was saying. Just like I was standing in awe.
No, your face is frozen.
I know, I can see that. But if I leave and come back, I don't think it's
I
gonna work.
It's all good, man. I think it's best that we keep just that screenshot up of you.
Right?
You
Just like me slightly looking off to the left.
So what's the plans? I mean, you guys have like in this space right now, you guys were number 3 in terms of like raising the most money, in 30 days. I guess you guys are up to like what, 425,000 or something like that. So, which is huge. Congrats. I mean, that's amazing in this market. Like people have to understand that, like, that's crazy in this market. Like, that's great. So like, but it makes sense. I mean, for people to go on and buy something that's going to give them lifetime access to a software that's going to allow them to make better judgment calls in terms of their trading, and also gamification, and have fun with their NFTs. That makes sense. What's next steps for you guys? I mean, you guys have teased about this Jolly Joker, like on your main page, about having like building this sports metaverse thing. Everybody's throwing around metaverse right now. Nobody knows what it actually means.
Yeah, metaverse is it's definitely a very like
out there
feels
concept.
like a far away concept right now. Yes, agreed.
I don't know.
I think.
Go ahead. Wait, I capitalize on something, because like that's something, and like, so sports isn't my area of expertise, but the metaverse I feel like is a lot sooner attainable than we're giving it appreciation, because technically this would be in a metaverse type of experience. And so if you really like deconstruct the idea of what a metaverse is, the Discord that y'all interact with, that's a metaverse experience. Like people are logging in and they're having this experience online.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like the land values in these metaverse experience, where like the Matrix market or these other pieces, I mean, how
Flovatar,
often
things like that.
Flovatar, yeah, like we grew up playing video games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, it just gives us experience. The metaverse could be any experience where you're enjoying it digitally. So me and
I
you
think they're
hanging
gonna
out.
start. They're gonna start calling it the multiverse, right? Because it's
Well,
like,
that's probably a better explanation for it because, like, let's say we do this chat, and then all three of us jump on like VR and we play a game in VR together, and then we watch a movie in our Discord together. Like these are
mhm.
metaverse, meta worlds experiences.
Yep.
So, but cool. Like, I mean, how do y'all perceive it in that sense? If the Jolly Jokers are like going that route.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think the metaverse is some version of it is kind of inevitable, and people even younger than us, the further generation for us, like it's just going to become more and more intuitive for those folks. There's a lot of cool metaverse stuff going on. There's some like metaverse sports leagues that
Yeah,
are out there that maybe haven't officially launched yet, but will be launching, and we've actually we have some exciting announcements regarding that are going to be coming in the future. Unfortunately, can't talk about them just yet. But
straight alpha
yeah,
right
I
there.
mean, there it is. But yeah, our goal with the Jolly Jokers is to be sitting right at the intersection of anything that's sports and Web3, or even just like sports and kind of emerging technology in general, right? And I think that's one thing that's kind of interesting. I feel like mainstream wise, NFTs, Web3 has a bit of like a bad rep, right? Like some people hear NFT and they're instantly just like, nope, not
Yeah.
Yeah,
interested in
turned
that.
off.
That's why, as you guys said, people like Dapper, so smart to not say the word NFT, right? Digital collectible, like
Right.
that's what
Mhm.
these things are. These are digital experiences, and like yes, there happens to be this awesome technology lying underneath of it that is enabling all of that to happen, but we're not throwing that in their face, right? And like, you know, lead with a product and a consumer facing thing that they can do, and let the tech just do what the tech does behind the scenes, which is, I mean, that's the world today, right? We have our phones, we have our computers, we
Yeah,
just take that for
agreed.
granted. Like I open up my phone, it just works. The internet just works. I'm not thinking
Yeah.
about how crazy it is that the internet's able to work. Like I just want to do whatever I'm trying to do on my phone. And eventually, blockchain and Web3 technology will underlie so many day-to-day activities, and people won't even realize that it's happening. To me, that's like, the 10-year vision of where this space is heading.
I agree with that sentiment. Like, because I really, I have a 9-year-old daughter, and she, you see how much they just gravitate towards electronics, even more so than when I was a kid. And now, when she's 15, 20 years old, a lot of these things of value they're going to hold are going to be possessed within their phone. And
Yeah.
I like to resonate back to like the thing like a Hearthstone. I played this card game for a while, and you bought these packs of cards, and you at the end of it you didn't really own it.
No.
At the end of playing, you had to give it away. And so we have all these different experiences, where like my project, we're really concentrating on fun. Like the idea behind it is just fun. So when you're buying like a party goob, like you're buying this experience where you're hoping to get like 15 minutes out of a day. That's just entertainment value. And because entertainment value is one of these pieces where, we work all these hours for what? you know and that's what all these pieces are really just trying to find what people are going to be entertained by. So it's really exciting pieces that y'all are building over there, both
I
y'all.
think I think it's all about digital ownership as well, right? Like you talked about the fact that you played this card game, but at the end of it, or you play a video game and Call of Duty, like you
Yeah,
play a
you buy
Call of Duty
skins or
game, and
something.
then the next year a new game comes out, and everything that you've put into that game is done. You got to rebuild from scratch. And video games now are going to start building these environments that everything in the game is owned, and you own what you own, and you can play with it, but it's an investment. So if you go ahead and you use that to build up, to a certain rank, that there should be value attached to that ownership. And I
Yep.
think for way too long, people just realize that they're just working to make other people rich. You know what I mean? Like you're investing so much time and money and effort into games, or in our case other things, but at the end of it, you're walking away from it, and just pure entertainment. That was what you paid for, right?
Yeah.
But I think by adding digital ownership to this, people are going to really grasp their head around the fact that the blockchain is a certificate that says that you physically own that. Like today, I went Chain Monsters is a game on Flow that just launched
Yeah, I
a
saw
land
that.
sale. Yeah, so they
Yeah.
just launched a land sale, which is pretty cool. Like they built this video game, and now you can go and you can buy your piece of land in that video game that you can go and play and come back. It's like your home base, right? Like,
Hmm.
like Grand Theft Auto, like you're coming back to your house. You're a place where you can change. And so again,
And
like
that
you
comes into
said,
the multiverse, right? Because like right then you're playing that game, you live in that house, and then you're like, all right, well now basketball's on. You log out and you log into Jolly Jokers, and you go, all right, well I got, and then they have like a gated wall where you have to have a Joker to get
mhm,
in, read your stats. You build out this Rumble, and then you're like, okay, now I want to get drunk, and like you close that down, you jump into the party mansion, you open a beer,
hmm,
Yep.
and so it has all these little environments built out where, and that's where it comes like that multiverse experience. We're not, I don't think one project will ever meet all the needs. Kind of like, was it one Ready Player One did? It'll,
hmm,
you'll really be these little environments to scratch each itch. I mean, I like
hmm,
basketball. I like basketball too, right? And so when I'm watching it, I want the entertainment. I want to know what's up. And then after that, I want to go check out something else. I want to check out my Bobblz. And then
hmm.
after that, I'm like, all right, let's go catch some Pokemon on the land sale, right?
Yeah.
What are they called? Small monsters?
In the Chain Monsters land.
Chain
Chain
monsters.
monsters. Yep.
Chain monsters. I think that's a really cool concept too. Like already, I just started playing Pokemon Go with my daughter.
Hmm.
So like every day, me and her walk through the city, and she like catches Pokemon.
Right.
But I know
AR.
at the end of it, yeah, I know at the end of it, we won't be able to sell them or anything. But I mean, why do you need that out concept? But at the same time, if it's possible, why not have it?
I think
So
in the
chain
future,
monsters,
anything that you have, you're going to be able to sell. Like that's the
right?
point of it, right?
That's such a cool piece.
Yeah, for sure. So TJ, if we were to like say like if we were to look at the future of sports, fantasy sports or sports betting, I mean, you said you were, DraftKings, and DraftKings is coming out with their own NFTs and things like that. What do you what do you see in the future? Like, obviously with sports betting, it's like a casino, right? Like the house is always going to win. Like, do you see that like in the future there's going to be like this decentralized transparency where like betting is always going to be like nobody's going to be the house? Like how is this going to,
The algorithms always win.
the
But go ahead. I
algorithms
want to
always
hear.
win? There's always a
I want to hear
house.
TJ.
Yeah.
I want to hear TJ.
I mean, the decentralized betting concept is one that I feel like has been talked about many times and even tried in a couple spots. I think the problem with that is like someone has to be the market maker, right? Like
Right.
somebody has to go out first and say, I'm taking, you know, Philadelphia Eagles over, right?
Right.
At this number. And then someone can come in and take the other side. In order for this to work, the exchange or platform would need to somehow incentivize those market makers, right? Because you're putting yourself up in a vulnerable spot, right? Okay, that example I just gave, Philadelphia Eagles, I'm posting the over of a certain number, and then I don't know, Jalen Hurts gets injured in practice. Now all of a sudden someone else took that bet because they want the under, and I had a bad line out there because I was being the market maker, right? So
Hmm.
that's the problem with the decentralized approach when you get to like the practicality of it. It sounds fantastic in theory, but someone needs to make the market and set that first line. And maybe there's a way where the exchange is able to incentivize the market makers enough through some kind of reward system or token.
Hmm.
I think it's something that, again, like I think is great in theory. I think we are probably a long way off from anything that actually works and gets to
Works.
any
Yeah.
kind of scale as well.
Right. So
Yeah.
in terms of Web3, we talk about sports. I mean, sports is definitely been the number one driver of if you ask me, it's been the number one driver of the space. Yeah, I mean, flow is huge, but you could say, I mean, NBA Top Shot is probably the biggest project in the Web3 world. So what do you see as being like the next big thing that like people that gets people like clicking like this? What's their light bulb moment where they're like, okay, this is fucking cool?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so first off, completely agree. Sports is like the on ramp into Web3. It just makes too much sense, right? Like I think you think about the history of sports, and there's collectibles. People have been collecting physical cards or game worn jerseys or footballs or whatever for decades. So
Yep.
physical cards. Now we're just replicating that in the digital world with digital collectibles.
Yep.
Another thing with sports is gamification, and people love playing fantasy sports and fantasy football and whatever else. Like we're seeing that be replicated in the Web3 space with games like we've created, such as Rumbles. There's plenty of other games of that type out there as well. And then the third element of community, like sports is all about community, right? You go to a tailgate with your buddies, you go to the game with your buddies, you hang out at the bar and watch the game with a group of people that root for the same team as you. That's community. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're just replicating that in the digital sense. So like check on all of the boxes there in terms of like this inevitable movement of sports culture to Web3. Now, how do we get there? I mean, I think it's a great question. And I think that's why things have stalled out, is because of a lack of new user growth. And, you know, I think in general, the early boom of 2021 kind of it scrambled a lot of expectations in terms of like, oh, this is going to happen like overnight, and then everyone's just going to automatically be all about this forever, right? That clearly has not happened. It in reality, it actually kind of created the opposite through that experience. A lot of people, maybe they know what NFTs are now, but they actually have a negative perspective on it, and it would be like better if they didn't even know about it. Yeah. But I mean, for me, the big thing is the connection to in real life sporting events, and specifically with ticketing is, you know, kind of the vision that I've had. I actually just went to the Sixers game this past Saturday. And so I was in the arena, and it's just like visualizing this world where, man, imagine if all of these people were on Top Shot, right? And, you know, one of the use cases that I've had in my mind, again, I don't think this is anywhere near like coming to fruition, but Dapper has a deal with Ticketmaster. I could see the future world. You show up at the game, you scan in with your phone, just like you do today, not any different. It just so happens that you're actually scanning in with your ticket that is an NFT that's in your Dapper wallet, right? Now they know all the people that are at there in that game. You're at this game, Joel Embiid scores 59 points. Awesome game. Maybe he has this sick dunk that happens in that game. Exclusive offer up on the Jumbotron. Like, buy this Joel Embiid moment. You can only buy it if you're here right now.
Yep.
Now people are buying it because they want it, right? Like, you don't have to, but like give them opportunity to buy it. Or there's a starter pack, and it's like, hey, open up this NBA Top Shot starter pack. Like 3 Sixers moments are in there, and maybe they're even non-transferable, right? Just stuff to get these people that are clearly fans of the game, get them in the door, get them set up with their wallet, get them their first couple of moments. And what we need is, you know, millions of people to want to have, you know, 3 or 4 moments of their favorite players. And that's fine, right? Like, not everyone's going to spend $10,000 on this stuff. That's not realistic. No. That's not even, we don't even want that. But like, if you make it normal that every basketball fan, every football fan, like they have, you know, even if it's only a couple, but they own something in their collection, it becomes more normalized, and then it continues to grow over that way. And to me, like, the connection to the meeting the people where they are, meeting the sports fans where they are at the game, and then bringing them into our world of the digital, I think that is when we know we'll have hit mainstream. And again, not anytime soon, not tomorrow, not next year, but in the next 5 to 10 years, like, I hope so. Yeah. That's definitely the bet that I'm making.
Yeah.
Agreed. You know, if I could chime in, the one thing I would say on top of that too is I was really surprised that NBA Top Shot hasn't capitalized on adding different assets. So something that sounds, I think like we have all these moments, and luckily the basketball, you have enough games where you can create new moments to meet the needs. But at the same time, I mean, I would like to see 3D jerseys dropped on there. I mean, because I would like a Zion jersey. or maybe like some basketball memorabilia pieces, like a 3D basketball. I feel like there's other avenues that NBA Top Shots could be adding to it, where they're saying, hey, we have these collectibles, the moments, but also if you were at the game, claim this.
Hmm.
Like everyone who was there can claim a 3D basketball of that game.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to licensing in that aspect, right? Like right now, Dapper has the licensing to just video, right? And so, if you want to sell memorabilia, then you have to have another license, right? Like there, and these licenses aren't cheap. Like I think Dapper's, I think they pay like 40 million a year or something like that. Like it's.
Well, yeah, I mean, they did let half of their staff go not too long ago. So, things ain't cheap right now, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
So,
doubt.
I mean, well, I think that, NBA Top Shot, I think that there's a lot of crossover that could happen where, there's other companies that do what they do best. NBA Top Shot does moments. And I think that there could be like a digital, company. Maybe it's Mitchell and Ness does like, a digital version of a jersey, right? I think that there should be crossover between the companies to better merge their user bases. I think at this point,
Agreed.
you got to focus on what you do and what you do well, right? Like if you spread yourself too thin, I think that could be terrible. So I think that there's a ton of crossover where like NBA Top Shot could say like, yeah, let's bring in Mitchell and Ness and do a retro throwback jersey, to Vince Carter, or like, you know what I mean? Like there's opportunities there that could happen, and I think we'll see them happen. But we're still far away off from that
I hear what
happening.
you're saying, like 5 to 10 years, and I don't think that's an extreme calculation. Didn't Ticketmaster say they were going to the blockchain? I remember a headline.
They have in
Yeah,
football.
they have a deal of some sorts with Dapper Labs and with Flow.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah, I'm going to a
that to
Macklemore
me that's
concert.
why I mean, we talked about the ease of you guys talked about the ease of onboarding on Flow and the user experience, and like that's probably the primary reason why I'm personally bullish on Flow. And
Mm-hmm.
then number two, right behind that, would just be the amount of big name brand partnerships they have, not just the leagues like the NBA, NFL, La Liga, UFC, but also big name brands like Ticketmaster and and just like the technical infrastructure that Dapper Labs has. People definitely take
Agreed.
that for granted. I mean, right? Less like a year and a half ago, you could barely line up for a pack drop and like get the queue. Now they've got for Top Shot reservation systems where you don't even need to wait in line. Like they are very far ahead of any
Yeah.
potential competitor in terms of that like infrastructural platform, and
Yeah.
people just take that for granted. And say what we want about Dapper, there's certainly been some questionable decisions, yada yada yada, over time. I'm
Circulation.
not gonna say that everything has been done perfectly, but I do think that sometimes they don't get enough credit for the stuff that they have done well and the stuff that does separate them from the remainder. And like that's why I just think
Hundred
the
percent.
future of mass
100%.
adoption is through sports and through Flow.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of people think that like they have to remember that like this stuff hasn't been done before. Like we're literally coming into a new age of technology where companies like Dapper and everyone else and us, we're making this up literally as we go, because this is a new there hasn't been people before us to show us how to do this in the right way. Like
Yeah.
the
Well, just
only
like you said, I mean, all of a sudden we have these gated tickets. And all of a sudden your tickets could have like long lasting value. Let's say you hold the Jolly Joker, you hold a Goob, you hold a Bobblz. And let's say you go quiet for 6 months building something, they could always have a value, because you can go, all right, well, you bought this and now I built this, and you have access to this new program, this new situation that you now have access to. And so it's like they could also have this returning revolving piece of value which are under precedent. Because, like you said, we're in this new tech. I don't think people quite know what to do fully with this technology because I think the potential is limitless.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's been talking about FTX, obviously, all that crap that's happened. But, over the last week as well, we've seen, Starbucks has launched their reward platform, right? Like we're seeing massive players launch things that are proving that an intangible asset is in fact tangible, right? Like what Starbucks is doing essentially is you go get your coffee and then you have rewards that the more coffee you buy, the more stuff you buy from Starbucks, you're rewarded with experiences, you're rewarded with discounts, you're rewarded with things that you can sell.
What if I could sell my points to you?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I don't want Starbucks no more. Fuck them. Here's my 10,000 points.
Yep.
And then you can transfer them. And then that offers all these little variations, which is kind of fun. Like I think he was talking about earlier when he goes, well, people like to collect the gamification of these pieces. Sometimes people just like to collect for the sake of collecting.
Yeah.
People are going to go out and collect all of a sudden these Starbucks points just because they can.
Right.
Yeah. That's really cool stuff. I think the future is pretty bright for this. The one thing I'm curious about is what do y'all think about the price of Flow compared to Ethereum? Because let's say you buy something on Ethereum. Well, you have to pay an Ethereum. But Flow is doing pretty much everything in their power to say you don't need Flow to operate on Flow. So does that make Flow a good investment in and of itself? Because the token isn't quite needed to live on the chain.
In theory, it should. But I think that what we're dealing with right now is we're dealing with too many degens and not enough people that know how to make sense of it all. like and right now, the sense of it is like how many people are using this platform, and if they're not, then it shouldn't have value. But I think the value in itself, like you said, is that this chain is proving to be the chain where massive companies are coming to build empires, and they're starting it out here because they know that what they're investing into this chain is going to prove to be here for the long run, right? So, I mean, we're right now there's just too many degens running around and not enough people that understand economies of scale.
For sure. People joined NFTs because they heard that there was free money to be had.
Yeah.
They came in. As soon as there's not free money to be had, they lose interest. And it's also created a longer term problem, I think, in terms of the culture of NFT customers. Is this I buy your NFT, therefore I expect to get value all the time forever. And oh, by the way, I want that value to be directly monetary.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, that's just not realistic. And that's also just a bigger problem that I've seen in this space is that there's really no one that's established a legitimate, sustainable business model around Web3 companies or Web3 products. We've basically seen a combination of glorified Ponzi schemes where it's hey, let's buy this stuff, hype it up so that we can sell it to other people for more money. And then there's the profiting off of big name intellectual property, whether that be things like Top Shot and Allday with the NFL and NBA, or, we've seen a bunch of individual athletes that have dropped some sort of NFT over the past year and a half. And what happened to them? I mean, nothing, right? There's nothing sustainable that's happening after the mint. And that's a problem. So that's why I'm bullish on this kind of model where the NFTs are more than just a speculative asset, but instead provide you some level of membership access, allow you to do things that other people can't do, and then build community in that way. And then joining communities together, right? To me, that's the next level of our visions. I take our Rumble contest, for example. Right now we're running our Jolly Joker gated Rumble contests. In a future world, we could create a contest where it's hey, you have to own a Jolly Joker and a Bobblz, and you get into this contest, right? So stacking those tokens on top of each other cross-pollinating across these variety of communities on Flow. And, that's why one of the things that I've been saying is like not viewing other people as competitors right now, and instead
No.
like, hey, we're all super early in this. We're all trying to build something awesome. It's best for all of us to support each other, to cross-pollinate the customer bases, the communities, and if this space wins, then we all win together.
I think that should be the status quo across all of Web3. Like, it
100%.
does it doesn't make sense to me why. I mean, right now the space needs to do that to grow, right? And I think people are being a little bit selfish to say, like you said, I'm going to buy something and like I bought it, so now it must be worth double the price, like right
Yep.
away.
Yep.
I always think
And
about cars, but go ahead.
yeah, that's a good analogy. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I mean, what else in the world do you buy and then the value goes up immediately? Like, no, if that's the case, then everyone would buy it. Then everyone does, and then the balloon pops.
That's what
Like,
happened.
and that's what happens. Like, the thing is with these, like you're saying, I mean, we were really early, and when I was building my project, I didn't even know that PFP projects were like that prominent in the field. So I was like, okay. I mean, I saw the apes launch, and I really liked them because I was looking, I was like, what do they mean about generative artwork? So I was looking at them, and I was like, I mean, what did what? And so I just started like evaluating their artwork, and then started figuring out what they did, and then I built my own. And I started drawing my own collection because I was like, well, this is just really cool, and I was really intrigued about the idea of generative art collections because I was like, I feel like there is a level of art in generative art. But then that was so fastly circumvented. It was so quickly circumvented. Like already people are building bigger projects, building further, building faster. And that's whenever we started revamping our wheels as well. Because we're like, all right, well, we're going to keep pace with it. Because, selling out a PFP doesn't keep you afloat. You get some cash, government takes half of it. And then from there you go, all right, now I got to build a project. And all of a sudden you need a new influx of cash to keep the project going forward. And that's when I feel like the businesses have to change from just like these one-off sales to you need an actual business model, something that keeps people bringing in money, but also you giving back, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where like this new economy has to get built.
Well, I think TJ's doing it right, where he's got. I mean, you've got a service. You're providing PFPs as not just an art form and form of digital self-expression, but you're also saying that this is a membership chip. This is my card. This is my membership card into something that I can find value in, and utilize that as your business model. I mean, I think that companies that are here to build and say, okay, I'm going to launch a generative art project, and everybody's going to think it's so fly. I'm going to have offers from Nickelodeon immediately to be making them animated series.
A cartoon is going to be amazing.
It's going to be everywhere. Is that like that doesn't happen? Like it might have happened with Yuga, but it doesn't happen. It's a flash in a bottle.
Exactly. But the beauty about Flow is the transaction fees. So like I was turning in my transaction fees to the tax advisor, like my accountant, and they're like, I can't even, we don't even know what to do with these. They're so low. Like the transaction fees are 0.0001 cents. Excel just doesn't know what to do with these.
You're trying to write those off?
No, I was just like, I have to present it to Germany. I haven't moved to the Caribbean yet, And so I'm presenting them to Germany, and they don't know what to do with transaction fees. But the point is, you can do so many transactions because they don't really cost anything, And so like the evolution of my project is really going to be working with. So we're kind of like building the next steps, and it's going to be composable NFTs where you get to change how it looks, kind of like the Flovitar model because we're working with Flovitar, and so we're going to be working with them a little more closely because it allows it to build upon the story. So all of a sudden your story goes, hey, this event is about to happen. And now to compose your NFT to make it this piece. But at the same time, you don't have to charge $100 per pack when it gets there either on this level. And I get some projects do, but like on this level, it goes, hey, buy a pack like you were going to be buying a pack of Pokemon cards because I buy those for my daughter. Like me and her go to Mueller sometimes. I put $5 in, and it's not that big of an expense. And I think that's going to be a little bit of the future as well, is getting these like little microtransactions where people are buying entertainment. Because for me, I like entertainment. Maybe it's the ADHD, but I like entertainment. And so that's going to be one of the pieces I feel like that is allowable on Flow with these cheap transaction fees. But I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I mean that's the future is microtransactions, right?
Yeah, that's what we're all striving for. It's like, because I mean that's what the government does. The government just wants you to buy and sell and trade, so they get like a portion of all the cuts to run the government. And so there's the things too with the royalties. You're hoping that you're creating this level of a business where people are trading, and you're getting some level of royalty trading. So yeah, it's exciting stuff.
What do you think, TJ, about the Ronaldo Binance thing?
Yes. What is up,
Ronaldo
TJ?
Binance thing? I don't think I've seen this.
Did Binance buy Ronaldo's foot?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, he's partnering with Binance on an NFT collection. I see.
Yeah.
I had not seen. I actually had not seen this.
Yeah, just today. So that'll be an interesting piece to watch. Like, what's that going to look like? Like, just to have an athlete of that stature. I don't think that there's ever been. Well, I mean, there's Autograph, right? Autograph.io has done it before with Tom Brady. Tiger Woods and things like that have created, really cool things. But Ronaldo is, I mean, he's on another level, right? Like it's pretty crazy.
Ronaldo, huh?
I mean,
yeah. I mean that's, you talk globally, it's arguably the most popular athlete in the world, I would think.
Right.
Definitely one of the top ones. I mean, yeah, just from a global scale, like soccer just kind of dwarfs any of the stuff that we see in America for sure.
Right.
And it was just, like excited for things like La Liga coming to Dapper Labs. So Rare's obviously been super successful and popular already with soccer. So just gonna continue to see these. And
are you guys going to work with La Liga as well for OTM and things like that? Or?
Would definitely love to do that at some point. No immediate plans to do so. I mean, in my ideal world, we have, full stop, all the sports NFTs, full analytics platform, etc., games for each of them. Really, for us at this point, it's about figuring out how to build all of that in a way that is financially sustainable. That's really the challenge. But we're always having different kinds of partnership conversations, both within the Dapper and Flow ecosystem, and of course experimenting outside of it as well. Right now, we're definitely laser focused on the Dapper sports products and on Flow, but am obviously aware that there's a sports NFT world outside of that bubble too.
No.
And even though we haven't dove into that at Own the Moment just yet, it's not off the table.
Amazing. All right. Well, I'm not going to take too much more of your time. We've been going at this for over an hour now, so not going to pull a Joe Rogan and do a 3-hour call. But appreciate you guys so much. What's next for TJ? What's next for you? For Jolly Jokers, just keep building the OTM.
Yeah. Just keep on building there. So if anyone is interested in learning more about the Jolly Jokers, first off, you can mint at jollyjokersnft.com. You could also join our Discord, chat in there with any questions, or just feel free to DM me directly, either in Discord or on Twitter at TJL5124DFS. Can help get all of your questions answered. If you're someone who is is a all day collector or a Top Shot collector, or just interested in kind of the intersection of sports and Web3 in general, Jolly Jokers is definitely a strong community for you. And yeah, just gonna continue on with our weekly grind. We've been doing at least 2 Twitter Spaces a week on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time from the Own the Moment account. We're doing a Top Shot weekly show tomorrow, and all Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we're doing an NFL All Day show. NFL All Day has a pack drop this Friday, so I'm sure we'll have some stuff going on there. So
yeah, I saw
yeah,
you were on there today with Crypto Poppy, right?
Yeah. I recorded a little show with him on our YouTube channel earlier. So if anyone's new to All Day, that's actually a great show to check out. Crypto Poppy from the Pirates of the Metaverse is just now starting to get an NFL All Day. So we kind of did a live show where we just walked through like, hey, here's what NFL All Day is. Here's all of the different stuff going on. Here's what the playbook is. Here's what Rumble is. Here's how you can use the Own the Moment website to get yourself started. And just continuing to provide tools for people that are avid collectors to allow them to scale up their collections, continuing to provide some more beginner level content for people that are maybe just getting into this space, and just waiting for the next big opportunity to come our way and take a big swing at it. So it's been a ton of fun building, and looking forward to everything that we have coming in the future. And yeah, thanks a lot for having me on the show today.
Cheers, TJ. Appreciate your time. Eric, what's next for you?
Nice. Man, you can make me follow that. Dude just laid out all that, and you'd be like, Eric, what are you going to be doing?
Yeah, Eric, what are you doing now?
So I'm pretty excited. So we're working now with the Fine team to be building out the party goobs and getting them like spread out in the universe. I'm working now with a couple of writers and some other people to be building out our storyline, because I want to be bringing goobs to a more of a storyline environment where we're going to be pumping out parties. People are going to be hanging out in the Discord, hopefully moving into the metaverse. But like we talked about previously, what the fuck does that mean? But at the same time, that's some things that are exciting to me, like human interactions and building out a storyline where you get to create a level of your character that's moddable. And so we're going to be working on creating the next level of our NFTs, which would be changeable pieces,
right?
Where people are going to be modifying them, much like Flovitar, because we're working with the Flovitar team. I'm really excited about that. And yeah, just kind of like concentrating on entertainment and fun. So like after you've kind of calculated your sport risk with the Jolly Jokers, you can come out, hang out with us for a little bit and just throw a couple beers back, have a couple little laughs, and just kind of let it go. And that's where we're going to go from there. So I'm really excited about the future, because I want to kind of build something where people can come in and have like entertainment is the piece.
Yeah, that's what Bobblz is doing too. We got a game that we're developing as well. So that's we're probably 2 months away, but I think that like entertainment and using your NFTs as something that you can integrate into entertainment is like the future, right? So that's kind of what we're doing as well with the game that we're building, is that you can take your collection and use them as cards in the game, and we're partnering with Moxie, so we're gonna bring play to earn and earn to play tournaments, betting, things like that. So pretty pumped for that, to build that out. And I think that's kind of like, that's the progression of our project in terms of like just trying to build it in stages of like, okay, you guys bought this PFP or this digital collectible, and now what do you do with it, right? And I think that many people's roadmaps, like I've seen arguments, people saying, people aren't sticking to roadmaps and people aren't doing this, but I think that, again, to go back to my comment, that this is something that we are all doing for the first time. And, a lot of us are finding our way as we go, and we're finding what our community likes, and we're trying to build that. Right. So
100%, because like, yeah, for me, it's all about just this level of an escape. It's a part to just come out and hang out. And I'm excited about it because, for me personally, I feel like I work a lot, and then sometimes I just want to come and have a place to chill and not almost veg out,
Mhm.
and creating this environment where people are allowed to kind of be who they are. I like gift wars where we just play music in the chat room and people just spam gifs and memes
Mhm.
and just kind of like lose themselves in it. And
Yeah.
that's something that's important to me. It's almost trying to escape the reality because so much of my personality is that it's trying to escape reality because reality is just boring sometimes.
And it's
You want to
shitty
jump.
sometimes.
Yeah, and so, sometimes it's about just escaping that for even a moment and falling, immersing yourself in a different world. And that's what
Hmm.
we're really excited to be bringing to the future. So,
Nice. All right, gents. We're
yeah,
we're over time. Appreciate your time. We'll see each other in the multiverse, metaverse versus places.
agreed. I'm
See
All
you
actually
right,
going to have a
there.
guys.
party. All right, TJ, it was nice meeting you. Hey, we
Thanks for
got some
having me,
ball and
guys.
goobs.
What's
And I
that?
think
Yeah.
it'd be the ball and goobs, I think would work perfectly for like an event with
Yeah.
Jolly Jokers. So
Yeah.
hit me up in the back channels.
Nice.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Cheers, guys. Appreciate your time.
All right,
All right.
Have a good
Sven,
one.
later.
Bye.